The global Dokkan celebration is just days away, and yeah, it's already off to a terrible start. Now, I have to say, this image looks absolutely fantastic, the colours and everything, but the big problem is that the active skill is not a fusion. Well, it's not a permanent fusion, it's a fusion attack, which has not gone down well whatsoever. The same also applies for this guy. Now, again, the card art is absolutely amazing. This illustration is phenomenal. Now, a lot of people are making the comparison with with this character. So, this guy. But the argument is that at the time this came out, this was the only, or this wasn't even a playable Beast Gohan. This was the very first iteration of the character. So, from that point of view, I don't think it's a fair enough comparison. But there is another one. Now, this is the other comparison. Now, again, I feel like it's a different situation because alongside this character, you also had the playable and actual fusion in the Super Saiyan 4. So I think from that point of view, it wasn't as, how should we say, it wasn't as big of an issue, but there was probably still, well, actually, to be fair, going back to that point, I don't think anyone was really complaining. So I just think that what's happening now is a huge problem. Aside from the obvious and them not being permanent fusions, I think another big problem is since the 10th anniversary, pretty much despite the quality of the characters they released, it's just been little to zero hype. Now, what that does is, and I think this is a fair line of thinking, is part of the community would think, okay, so these aren't very hype characters despite being good, so that must mean that they're really going to give something huge for this celebration. And obviously the anticipation and expectation builds and it builds and it builds, and as we get closer to it, it gets to a point where the community, you're expecting them to give you a whole castle, but instead they've just given you a house. And well, I'm still really excited personally. What I really want is them to be built for Festival of Battles, so that come near the end of the fight after a gazillion stacks, their two active skills, despite them being not permanent fusions, would absolutely obliterate the boss. Now, obviously, with Goku Black and Zamasu, it's a case of there's not enough to actually run him in a Festival of Battles setup. Hopefully, well, again, this is me making the complete assumption that these kits are built for that. I hope they are, because it gives variety to the event, and we need more characters for it. But I'm still excited. Yeah, it's a bummer that there's no fusion, and with everything that's happened post 10th anniversary, it's definitely hit the community hard. But the theme is breakthrough. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be all future. I mean, I think that is a possibility, but I think there's also a possibility that we do get Daima. Now, why do I think that? Well, because technically Goku broke through his limits to some extent. Obviously, yes, they had broke the continuity and, or sorry, created continuity problems, but with him saying at the end, oh, I figured it out after I beat Boo, which obviously makes no sense, but he still broke through his limits, and if we want to be a bit more specific, he broke through the demon realms, like the barrier. So I think there's still this expectation, but I think if they're going to really try and fix it, if the kits aren't great and if the animations aren't great, which I think they will be, I think they'll be elite. But in a world, let's just say they aren't, then this is the only way to fix this, I think. Make him absolutely bonkers number one, or at least close to number one. I don't know how they're going to even beat what Vegito does, but yeah, they better blow and rock the entire community with something awesome.